There we go. So we were talking about our listings last week. Let me just go into here. And so today we're going to try and handle more objection handling. Last week we went over more about how to go into the system and create a nice presentation when we come. Okay, we didn't focus too much on pricing strategies. I know someone last week asked me about the adjustments and stuff. We'll focus on that a little bit more. We'll do maybe pricing strategies coming up, how to price our listings accordingly. But today I want to focus on objection handling. So we'll go over a few, and then you guys can let me know if there's any specific ones that you guys are having trouble with your listing appointments. But to start, we want to just briefly go over our CMA. So they say if you answer the 6 questions when you're sitting down for a listing appointment, that the person sitting with you will generally hire you to sell their home. So we went over all the parts, and if anybody wants a copy of it, again, I'll send it out if anybody missed last week. But why you? Okay, so why use you to sell the property? Why your firm? So that's the whole RE/MAX tips and stuff that I went over. How you'll market the property, what the commission is going to be, what is the home worth, and what's happening in the market, right? So if you answer those 6 questions, they should list with you. But very often we come across a lot of objections, which I'm going to go over. There's a lot of common ones, but there's hundreds and hundreds more. So I'll go over some of the first few common ones, and then we'll get into see if you guys have any specific ones that you want to cover that you haven't been able to overcome. So I love doing these scripts because, and I'll share them with all of you guys, because when you're, especially when you're a new agent or you're not sure what to say on the phone, reading the script is fine, but I want you guys to learn not to read. I want you to get really used to the script and how to handle the objection so you can use your own verbiage and use your own tone on the phone, because everybody can always tell when you're reading a script, okay? So we'll read the script first, and then we'll kind of go over how I would attack it, right? So if someone says to me, oh, I'm sorry, we're going to list with the same realtor, we use them to purchase the house, we're going to sell the house with them. I say, okay, so you're thinking about relisting with the same realtor. I understand. Thank you for sharing that with me. Can I make a suggestion? Right now, you feel that the same realtor is your best bet, right? Would you like to be certain? I'm really suggesting a second opinion. Does that make sense? Can I be that second opinion? Great. Let's set an appointment. When would be the best time to get together? Tuesday or Thursday? Right? So there's a couple of things I want to point out here. First of all, they always say to repeat back what the person said to you. Always repeat back with a positive. Okay, so this is just negotiation tactics, I guess you can say, when you're trying to land that listing appointment. So when people ask me a question, I never say no. I try to find a way to say yes back, even though I'm saying no, right? And then you want to suggest what your fix is for their problem, right? So in this case, they say, I want to list with the same realtor. I always say, oh, great, you're going to list with the same realtor. They must have done a good job for you. In real estate, we live on our referral business, and our repeat business from our clients when we're good to our clients. So can I just make a suggestion? It's always good to get a second opinion. I'd love to bring you a market evaluation of the property and show you, see if it's comparable to what your other agent has said, right? Very often, if you have a better presentation, if you find better value in their house, if it's truly worth more, don't just go and trying to overprice the home, trying to get the listing, right? Or if you have more value to offer, for instance, if they really like what you're saying about what you're doing for your marketing or your social media or, your virtual tours or drone footage that we're doing right now, whatever they like, you might get that listing appointment, even though they said they want to use the same realtor. So this is a really good thing. You want to turn around and ask them if they want a second opinion. I find that works very often, right? All right, this is a big one. Will you reduce your commission? This is almost always going to end up in every single listing appointment you have, right? So again, I'll read the script and then I'll go over how I would handle this one. So your question is, will I reduce the commission? Great question. I certainly hear that a lot. See, you're not saying no, right? Can I make a suggestion? I've made a note of that question. That will be one of the first items I discuss when I see you, okay? This will work some of the time, but some of the time if they persist on the phone. I never, ever, just a quick thing, I never, ever discuss commission on the phone. If you give away those things on the phone, you're rarely going to get an appointment with them face-to-face, because if you say 1.5 or 2 or even 1%, you don't get a chance to negotiate with them in person. Someone else is going to come and say that and get them to sign right in front, right? I totally understand why you brought up the commission again. Can I share something else with you? In order for you to assess my value and make an informed decision, I need to show you my complete marketing plan. That way you can properly assess my value. I can't do that over the phone. I promise we will discuss the commission in detail when I see you, okay? When would be the best time for us to get together? Tuesday or Thursday? So you see, this always ends with when would be the best time to get together. I never ask someone on the phone, can I come by today? Or, you know, that gives them a chance to say no. You want to ask them, can I come by Tuesday or Thursday? When you give them those two options, that's another closing technique where they have to choose one. It's not a yes or a no. It's easy for people to say no and, you know, sort of slug you off, and then you don't have the appointment. So you want to give them those two options. Monday work better in the evening or Tuesday in the afternoon, right? Not can I come by? Gives them the chance to say no. Okay. I want to go back here again to say, you know, will you reduce your commission? So will I reduce my commission? I have, do you guys, you know what, I'll just open it up. It's better if I open it up, you guys can see it. Last week I went over about how not to reduce your commission, and we'll just go over it again because I think it's such a good tool if you guys memorize this way to go over the commission and how to not reduce it for when someone's asking you, right? So a lot of people, what are we combating right now? We're combating how to reduce that 1% listing, right? Everybody goes around and says, there's so many agents out there who are going around and saying 1%, 1%, 1%. How do you combat that when you're sitting for a listing appointment, right? So I'll go back into my CMA here and we'll go over to commission structure. You guys can all see that online. Sometimes when I stop and reshare something, you guys can't see it. Everybody good online? You can see the share? Everybody's so quiet online. Okay, so I know you guys are here. I want to make sure these people on Zoom can see the share here. Because sometimes when I change the screen on it, it doesn't go translate. You know what? I'll just make sure everybody can see it there online. I'm going to go and I'm just going to reshare it just to make sure. Awesome. Thank you. I just know so many times I'm sitting and talking online and I find out 5 minutes later they can't see the share. Okay. So, one moment. I think someone just entered the room real quick. Let me just let them in here. Okay. So this is a way that I think is really good to combat the commission. And I don't even pull this diagram out anymore. I've just gotten so used to it. I sort of just explain it verbally. I used to put it in my CMA, but I prefer to explain it verbally to my clients now. So I started taking it out of my CMA. So everybody says, you know, will you list for 1%? Yeah, sure, no problem. Let me just explain to you how it breaks down. So 5% is normal commission, right? For listing residential property, okay? So you have that 5%, 2.5% goes to the co-op, okay? I never touch that 2.5% because I want to bring the most value to your property. So co-op agents coming with their buyers are going to pick your property over others that are listing for less. And that's why I don't touch it, because I don't want them not showing your property if we list for less. So then we're going to talk about our 2.5. Okay, this is our 2.5 here that I'm going to do for listing. With my brokerage, I share half of that. Nobody knows our splits. Everybody understands, okay, commission. A lot of guys out there are offering 1%. They understand that, but they don't fully understand when we come to the brokerage level what we're splitting with the brokerage. So we're going to blame it on Vahisan right now and say, I'm giving half to him, right? Of our 2.5, 1.25 and 1.25 is going to our brokerage, okay? So I am willing to reduce 0.25 of my commission and I can list for you for 1%, okay? What do we end up with at the end of the day? 4.75, right? Most people know that when they're asking you to list for 1%, those guys out there are listing for 3.5. Okay, so hopefully this is going to get you 4.75 when you're doing your listing, right? If you explain it to them this way, because then they kind of walk through and go, oh, okay, thank you. So many times I just get a thank you at this point. I'm going to reduce my 0.25 and I'll list for 1% as well. Okay, so don't be willing just to drop it and all of a sudden do it for the total 1%. Make sure that you're trying that at least. Sometimes you have a really savvy seller out there who knows exactly what that 1% means. They know the total is 3.5. Fine, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I always say close the listing appointment. I know it hurts sometimes to walk away with only 1%, but that listing offers you so much at the end of the day. You're trying to close your listing appointment because your sign's on the lawn, you're getting exposure, right? You're getting buyers calling you off of your sign, right? You're getting your name out there. right? Which is the life of a real estate agent. We need their name out there. How do they know to call us if we're not selling things in the neighborhood? And you can jump your marketing off of that. You can start selling to the neighborhood, just sold over asking, right? So there's so much you can get from a listing that if you're going to end up with that 1% at the end of the day, it's better you end up with something than nothing, because the next agent's probably going to come and take it for 1%. But hopefully with that strategy, you can try and get more commission at the end of the day, right? Okay, I'll just go back here to our objections. Okay. Okay. So that's the why. Will you reduce your commission? Okay. So we have a friend in the business. We get this a lot. Everybody knows a real estate agent. Everybody has a family member. Everybody has a friend. Everybody has someone at work that they know is a real estate agent. So you have a friend in the business. Thanks for sharing that with me. I appreciate that. Can I share something with you that might prevent you from making a mistake? When it comes to the sale of your home, are you looking to sell for the maximum price, or are you trying to do your friend a favor? They will probably say, I think my friend can sell it for the maximum price. Okay, you think your friend can sell it for the maximum price? Excellent. Can I make a suggestion? Why don't you let me give you a second opinion? If you like what I say, great. If you still think your friend is the best bet, no problem. At least you'll be sure you selected the right realtor. Does that make sense? When would be the best time for us to get together? Tuesday or Thursday, right? So again, we're going back to, we're going to relist with the same agent. Everybody's going to say that they have an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or someone who does real estate. I always say to them, especially if they have a full-time job, and no, I'm not saying anything to part-time realtors, but especially if they have a full-time job, like the cousin who in IT is also doing real estate, I will say, well, this is my full-time position. If you're working full-time, you can use it to your advantage and say that, right? Especially when they're trying to do their cousin or, their aunt a favor, and they think that they really have to use them because they know the person, right? So hopefully that'll help you out with that one. The other realtor said they would charge less. So again, we're coming back to that 1% commission. If I'm trying to fight, because this person wants staging and they want professional photography and they want some drone footage, and it's a pretty nice listing that I'm trying to land, but I'm really trying not to go down to that 1%. I like to use this one a lot. So I'll just read it over and then we'll go with it. So the other realtor said they would charge less. Is that correct? That's a really good point. Thank you for mentioning that. Can I tell you what makes me concerned? If the other realtor is willing to sacrifice their money so quickly, I'm a little concerned how they'll treat the equity at the offering table. Have you considered that? Can I ask you another question? Do you want a realtor that will fight for every nickel of your equity? A realtor that gives their money away so quickly obviously is not that realtor. Let's set an appointment so I can show you exactly how I protect your equity. Okay, so I've taken this over the years that I've had this script, and I kind of say to them, if this person is not willing to defend their own worth, how are they going to defend the worth of your property? They can't fight enough for their own worth, for their commission. And I'm telling you my value proposition. I'm telling you that I'm going to do your staging beautifully, that my marketing and negotiation skills and my years of experience are worth you to give me the 0.5 or whatever commission, extra commission I'm fighting for. If that agent can't fight for their worth, they're not going to, at the time of negotiation for your property, when we get an offer, they're not going to fight very hard for your property, right? And people kind of think about that too. They think they'll admire that you're actually fighting tough for yourself. All right, for sale by owner. Who calls for sale by owners? Anybody been calling for sale by owners? What about you guys online? Are you guys calling for sale by owners at all? Do you guys go skim through Kijiji or any other, you see a sign on the side of the road? You guys should really try. I'm telling you, for sale by owners, I've gotten lots of listings before because of for sale by owners. Hold on, I just want to see here if somebody's chatting. Okay, yeah, no, for sale by owners for sure is a really, really good way to get listings. Okay, think about it. Anytime you go and you see a sign for sale by owner, or you see something in the paper, or you see something online, any of these sites you're on, it's not a cold call you're making, because they already want to sell their property. Okay, and when you're calling these for sale by owners, you're going to realize that if they're a week or two into it, they're already tired of the millions of agents calling them, booking appointments, coming through their house. They're really kind of fed up. So sometimes they're a really, really easy close, right? So let me just go back to sharing my screen here. For sale by owner. just bring us a buyer and we'll pay 3%. So a lot of people are saying this to me when I'm calling for sale by owners, and you'll get the same thing if you start calling them. They think to themselves, I don't want to pay the commission on both sides of the transaction, but if you bring one, I'll give you 3, because I know normal's 2.5, I'll give you a little extra. Okay. So I'll read this first and then I'll go over a couple of things. Okay, if I bring you a buyer, will you pay 3%? That's correct. Thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Can I make a suggestion? I would love to be in a position to speak intelligently to my buyers about your property. When would be the best time for me to stop by and preview your home? Tuesday or Thursday? When I see you at my presentation, when I see you at Tuesday, my presentation only takes 15 minutes. If it makes sense, great. If not, no problem. I look forward to seeing you. So when you're on the phone, this is a good way to get in the door. What I say, because all those for sale by owners are getting calls from other agents. A lot of them say, I don't want to sell. No, I don't want an agent. No, I don't want to use an agent, and hang up. You bring me a buyer and I'll give you 3%. The first thing you want to say to them is, I want to bring you a buyer, but I don't know what your home looks like. I'd like to come and make an informed decision. Can I come and walk through the property? That'll get you in the door. I'm going to be honest, I don't often tell them ahead of time that I'm going to bring my presentation, but I always bring my presentation to try and list the property, right? When I'm there, I try to explain to them another thing on top of this objection. 3%, you're willing to pay me 3%, right? So now I'm going to go right to the 3.5 because I'm trying to close this for sale by owner and he already doesn't want to pay agents, right? I'm going to say to him, for 0.5 more, you're going to have your own representation, right? All of these transactions, this is a huge transaction, most of them are upwards, 900,000, $1 million nowadays, right? Every buyer coming has their representation. They have their agent writing the paperwork with clauses that protect them. For 0.5% more, you're going to have your own representation, because when they come to me with this contract, I'm going to make sure that not only are there not clauses in there that hurt you, but that I insert clauses and stuff that protects you within the agreement, right? 0.5% is not worth that, to avoid the pitfalls in the future when this closes, if you forgot to put different things in the agreement. I'm used to doing these agreements every day. I'm an agent, I work this every day, and I'm used to reading the legalese within our paperwork, right? So a lot of time people see that, okay, you know what, if it's only 0.5 more, they're right, I should have my own representation at the end of the day. Okay. The next one. So if you're calling, this is especially if you called like expireds or terminateds or something like that. These are other cold calls that you guys should be doing. I talk a little bit about pillars. I think we'll go into it another day, but remember I was talking about your farm area. If you have your farm area of your 500 homes, pick a little area, that pocket that you want to work in. You're going to know everything about that pocket. So when you know everything about that pocket, you're going to know who's just listed, who's just sold, who's renovating, who's old, who's got a new baby, what their plans are, because that little pocket is really easy to work. And they should know your name. You should be sending out flyers on the regular, right? So if you're doing just like terminated, or expired listings in that area, you're making the cold calls for that. You often get the objection, we're going to keep it off the market for a while. Oh yeah, we had it up with that other agent. We terminated it now, or it expired. I'm really tired of showings, and we're going to keep it off the market for a while. So they say, okay, you're planning to keep it off the market for a while. Is that correct? Thank you for sharing that with me. I really appreciate it. Do you mind if I ask you a question? If you had an offer for your home in the next 30 days for the right price and the right date, would you consider it? If you'd give me 15 minutes of your time, I would let you know if I could do that. What would be better, Tuesday or Thursday? So you find if a lot of people are tired and you're calling, you're terminated and you're expired, if you say to them, if I brought you an offer next week though, and it was the right price, would you sell? Oh yeah, but we just weren't getting our price. Okay, well, let me just tell you how I can get you that price, and I can bring you that offer, because obviously they're still willing to sell. I think they're just a little exhausted when you're making those calls. All right.
Sorry.
That's okay. I like the questions. Go.
Is it possible like a visual tour picture video and then without walking? And if you're really interested, people look, I like this area, I like this house. 100% you confident.
Yeah.
They'll who want to buy a confident, then they don't want to visit their home. We can take a visual, the video.
A video tour?
Yeah.
if you're really confident,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna say, like, if you're working with your buyers right now, I wouldn't necessarily take them through 30 homes right now.
Yeah.
I'd get them to vet sort of their favorites through virtual, because everything online now has a virtual tour or a 3D walkthrough or something. We're all trying to enhance our presence online because nobody's walking through the houses as much, right? We want to limit that. But I think right before they do a final purchase, it's always risky to let them buy sight unseen.
Before sign, okay, one time
Walkthrough, exactly, because sometimes, you know, it's not the same when you're, even if you're walking through with video, when you're walking through the actual space, there might be something that they don't like about it, right? So it's always risky. I always say definitely walk through with them. Someone here was just asking if they should, if you could buy a house for someone with a virtual tour or video tour. I've heard of it before. So I mean, I know lots of people who've worked with people overseas and they're coming here and they need something here. When they get here, they buy very often over virtual tour and stuff. I think you really have to know your client well and be confident there's not going to be a problem. Like, even if they came and there was something they didn't like, that they wouldn't blame you for it, because it's going to be difficult.
The client agree and then the seller agree, then there's no problem.
There's no problem, but I would still encourage them to walk through. I really would. If they're here and present, I would encourage them to walk through for sure. It's always less risky. You know what I mean? You're always trying to reduce your risk at the end of the day. You want to assure if anything happens with Rico that you did your due diligence. So they're going to want to see. The first thing I ask you is, when did you show the property? You know, they'll see the confirmation and the time you went through with your client, you know, and if you say the client never saw it, well then, you know, I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult. Unless you can explain a really good reason why, or they absolutely insisted that you do the transaction, it's always better just to encourage them, even just a 10-minute walkthrough. It doesn't have to be like a whole hour appointment at the property, right? Okay, so just, let me let this person in. I have some more objections to go over, but I really want to hear what you guys are having trouble with in your own listing appointments. Is there something I haven't really covered lately that maybe I could try and attack? What's your most common objections you're getting at your listing appointments? Because I could talk all day long. I think I've heard all the, sorry? 90 days holdover. You can reduce the holdover period, right?
I did,
But they don't want any holdover period. Oh, that's a little risky. Why don't they want a holdover period?
Because if my property doesn't sell, I'll put it to rent back. Like, I'm not gonna.
That's fine. You can put it to rent back. The holdover period has nothing to do with them renting it, right? So everybody understand the holdover period. I think a lot of our clients are confused, right? So the holdover period we put in, whether it's 30, 60, 90 days after our listing is up, only means that, for instance, say I put a listing up for the month of May. Everybody that I showed it during the month of May, that means if they come back June, July, or August, that they came off of my initial advertising, my initial listing, my initial work, we still have claim to that commission, right? So a lot of people say 3 months, wow, that's a long time, you know what I mean? A lot of people aren't bothered by it if they're not planning on doing something shady after, like a private deal after your listing expires. But, you know, if clients are bothered by it, you can reduce it. You know, it's a number we can play with for sure. But it's good to keep in there, definitely, because the reason Trev and all started doing this in the paperwork is because people were doing that. They're saying, my listing's expiring in 2 days. Come back, I'll give you $10,000 off because I won't have to pay this guy commission. Right? And people would wait and come buy the property private deal next week. And they've come off of my exposure, all my hard work, my photography, my social media, my listing. You know, I'm paying my dues, I'm carrying insurance, I'm loading on Treb, and then they're doing a private deal next week. So try not to not have it in there. You want to make sure 1 month. Yeah, I know. It's difficult though. You want to try to make it a good 90 days because a lot of people won't wait that out, right? They'll find something else to buy. What about you guys online? You're so quiet. Tell me something that you're having trouble with your listing appointments. What's not closing for you and why? Why are you not landing your listing appointments? Everybody's getting their listing appointments online, closed, no problem. All right. Okay, we'll go over some more objections, okay? So, what's up? Yes.
So Like, what if they just don't think that you're very experienced because you're young?
Okay, this is a really good one. I like this one a lot. Okay, so I got asked here, what if they don't think you're very experienced? And that's really good for any of the new agents in the room, anybody waiting for their RICO to go through. You're going to come across this now. People are going to say, how are you going to know? Okay, first of all, fake it till you make it. Don't go in and say, hi, I'm a brand new agent and you're my first listing. I never told my first listing that, okay? The second of all is you guys have to realize that there's strength in numbers. We're 100 strong at this brokerage, okay? I want you guys to use your colleagues, right? So when you go for listing appointments, you're really new. Have you sold anything in this area? Absolutely. Before you go for that listing appointment, you better go online, print what's happened within this brokerage, even if it's not your listing, because within this brokerage, we're all part of the same brokerage. We're allowed to advertise each other's listings, right? Without permission. You don't have to call. I mean, if you want to tell your colleague, hey, Mary, you mind that house you sold last week? I'm trying to get a listing right near. I'm going to use your listing, eh? Fine, but the thing is that we don't have to ask each other because we're all part of the same brokerage, okay? If you do something outside of the brokerage, absolutely. But within the brokerage, I would go and say, I wonder what they sold in EO9. I'm going for a listing appointment there. And even if I'm an older agent like now and I haven't sold anything, say in Mississauga, I still might do this for my listing appointment, right? Because I want to say we sold this, there's an almighty we in there that they're not hearing, right? So you're going to go into EO9, you're going to see what's currently listed and what's just sold in that pocket and take that to your listing appointment. So if you come across that question, you can say to them, Sarah, oh no, you know what? We just sold this and we just sold this and we just sold this. All over asking, right in EO9.
And
Right?
I'm not sure whether, like, we implies I was involved in those things.
Yeah.
So I'll just-
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I just try to gloss over it till you have your own listings in that pocket, right? Use the strength of your brokerage in the meantime, right?
I just told them, like, when I took the listing, I said, you're not hiring me, you're hiring my brokerage, and 15 of 90 people.
Exactly.
And the whole thing.
Yeah, I have that in my CMA. Why hire me? When you hire me, you're hiring 100 agents right in this neighborhood. You know what I mean? Especially if you're selling in this neighborhood, right in this pocket, right? I have 100 agents working out of my brokerage. We're all buying and selling in this pocket, right? Okay, I'll open up another share. Anybody online have a question or something else that they're not, that need help with navigating in their listing appointment? Okay, I'll go back to my share here and I open another one that I have. We can go over because there's a few more in this other one that I like to go over. Okay. So some of them we've already handled. If I list my home with you and buy my next home from you, will you cut your commission? So, you know, sometimes I will do this for clients. There's no guarantee they're going to buy with you though after you list, right? So it depends what you're doing first. I mean, it's up to you whether you want to negotiate it. You can say, yeah, I can appreciate that. And I want to be upfront with you and say, no, I will not cut my commission for a very simple reason. I never say no. Okay. These are different scripts. I don't know if you guys, when it wasn't COVID, attended any seminars and stuff like that. There's, you know, Mike, Ferry, Rob, Vivian, a whole bunch of guys out there. I tend to stick to Rob Vivian's scripts. He's more my style, but you have to take all these scripts and turn them into your own thing. So there's a big thing is I never say no. If someone says, will you cut your commission? I always say, yeah, no problem. We'll totally discuss that when I sit down for the listing appointment with you. You see what you're saying back? It's always a positive. As soon as you say no in their mind, you're a no and they've shut down. They're not likely going to sign with you because they've heard that no. When you're in the middle of a negotiation, you always have to find a positive spin and how to turn that around and say something positive back to the person. Okay? It's a good tip. So as a professional, my time has certain value and I only work with people like you that realize the value of my service. And before you say anything, think about this. If an agent is willing to cut his or her commission just like that, how well do you think they will hold up when it comes to negotiating the best possible price for your home? So again, you're going with that value proposition. If they can't defend their own worth, how are they going to defend the value of your property? Okay. We already went over this objection. I've seen the marketing plan from many different agents. What makes you different? this is where you have to have your marketing strategy ready. And we'll talk about the CMA again, especially you guys have missed it last week. You want to put in there what you're doing to market the property and how you're going to be above and beyond that other agent, right? So right now in my listing appointments, I'm really pushing how I'm spending the money on the online presence right now and the virtual tours and the 3D walkthroughs and stuff like that, because it's so important right now for people to vet things online before they walk through those properties, right? This is one I gotten before. Why is your price so much lower than the other agents we've just talked to? They have comps that show higher prices than yours, right? If you've done your research and you're confident about it and you haven't missed sales in the neighborhood, so make sure you're sitting down and doing your CMA and doing your research. You should just always say to them, I will say to them, well, I always tell people the truth, right? If I feel that your house is worth 780, I'm not going to tell you you can get 850 for it, right? If they're insistent, we can always put it up for 850 and I'll circle back in a week. If you haven't had any showings or offers, I'll most certainly reduce that for you. But I telling you I did the comps, wouldn't it be better for me to put it up at 780 and we end up over asking, right? But I'm just letting you know, honestly, up front, what I think your property is worth, right? I'll sell my home when the values go up. So I'm getting a lot of this, but I'm also getting from my buyers, I'll buy when the values go down, right? So I'll sell when my value goes up. This is important, okay? I treat this two different ways. So if I have an investor client that I know and I've worked with, they put the money in to do a flip for this property, and they're telling me right now, is it a good time to sell? And I know the market's really low right now because maybe they just had a huge increase in the interest rates and the values have just dropped down, okay? I, as an agent working a long time in real estate, know that that'll eventually go back up slowly because everybody sort of gets scared and stops buying and all the values go down, right? I would tell my investor client, okay, no problem. But most of the time people are selling and then turning around and buying. So I always say to them, don't be afraid of that, because if you sell low, you buy low. When you're selling when the values are up, you're also purchasing when the values are up. People don't really think of it that way. And then they go, oh, okay, you're right. So if I sell low now, I buy low. If I sell high, I buy high. I understand. So it's sort of even whether as long as you're buying and selling at the same time, it's sort of even. Yes, Sarah.
What about like for first time buyers? Like for instance, right now it's more of a seller's market. So like how could you convince a first time home buyer, like if they don't have another property to sell?
Right.
To compensate for
You just have to know your market. So why is it such a hot seller's market right now?
Because there's scarcity of there's not a lot of people are active and stuff. So it's just
so there's a couple of different reasons. So the inventory is really low right now. Part of the reason the inventory is low is yes, COVID, but I don't think that's scaring off as much people. I think the inventory is really low. A big part of it is because things are flying off the market. They're not lasting long because the bidding wars are happening because the interest rates have been so low, right? So with the interest rates being 1 point something, less than a bottle of water, you know what I mean, on every, $1,000 you're borrowing kind of thing, right? You're getting such a low interest rate. People are running out and buying right now. So I've been telling my first time buyers, I know it's a little expensive out there right now, or even people trying to purchase something bigger than what they're in or get out of their condo or something. They are scared of the prices right now, but I've been saying to them, I know it is a little high right now, but the interest rates are crazy low. Crazy low. That's why everybody's running out and buying. That's why it's such a seller's market right now. That's why it's so aggressive out there and there's so many bids happening, right? So sorry, you were going to say something else?
I was just going to ask, aren't the interest rates lowered because of the pandemic?
I think they tried to
to make it easier for people to.
Yeah, and kind of, just make it what's the word I'm looking for? I guess infuse the market, you know what I mean, with some kind of energy so people are still buying and selling for sure. Yeah, but whatever the reason is, if you get in now, you have a crazy low interest rate for at least if you can lock it in the next 5 years, right? So
Government needs money too.
Government needs money too, exactly, right? How much advertising will you do? Because I want a lot of advertising. So we got this too. What are you going to do to advertise my property? Again, when I talked about the CMA last week, I talked about putting stuff in that you're really going to do. If you're not going to door knock the neighborhood or send out just listed flyers, don't tell them you will, because your clients will be angry at you and say, hey, I thought I was going to get, website for my property, or I thought there was going to be a 3D tour online. If you're not doing it, don't say so. But I usually say the things like I was saying, you know, that I'm going to have a really strong presence online right now. We're going to be doing the virtual tour. You know, we're going to, I tend to do my calls or door knocks. Right now, door knocking's not happening as much, but I'm an avid door knocker. I can't wait till COVID lifts and it's summertime. We can all go out group door knocking and get some listings. It's fun. Close appointments that way. So I find I've been cold calling a lot more. So now when I get a just listed, I'll call the whole building or that whole little pocket in the area. And I'll say to them, hey, you know what? I'm Christine from Remax. And the first thing they say is, I don't want to sell my home. And I go, oh, no. I just listed a property in your area. And I wanted to know if you have any, you know, friends, family, or anybody you're looking to sell, like looking to purchase in the neighborhood. I say it's kind of like a pick your own neighbor program, right? And they laugh it off and they go, okay, because every agent calling them is looking to sell. And once they're comfortable on the phone, you can always say to them, they go, oh, how much is that listed for anyways? 1.1. Whoa, 1.1. Prices are really up in this neighborhood. Yeah, they are. Are you thinking of selling in the near future? Oh, you know, I was kind of thinking about it because the prices are good. That's how you can get into the conversation with them. It's easier to close a person who's not like affronted right away. If you find a nice, smooth way to get into the conversation when you're doing your cold calls, you definitely have more success talking to them longer, keeping them longer on the phone, and closing that deal, right? You're too busy. You have so many listings and we want someone that can give us the attention we deserve. Okay. I hope people say this to you, right? Going forward, and any of you agents out there who are really busy right now, I hope you're getting it. If somebody says to you, you're too busy, right? Because they see online, you posted on your Facebook yesterday, you got a listing, and you just posted last week that you just sold something. People have said this to me, right? But I just combat them with saying, you know, it's okay. I can handle the business I'm doing this full time. But not only that, do you want to use me, who has exposure, who's getting calls off of many signs out in the neighborhood? Or do you want to use someone who's not getting that exposure? Because exposure is what's going to sell your price for top dollar, right? The more people I bring to your property, the more people are going to fight your property. So it's good that I'm a busy agent. It's to your benefit, right? It's money in your pocket at the end of the day. All right. I want to find a house before I put it on the market. How many people get this one, right? I don't know. I might sell. I want to find a house before I put it on the market. Okay. This is a tricky one to navigate. I get asked, especially by new agents, a lot. Should they sell first or should they buy first? It's kind of a toss up. You have to go over the situation and see what makes more sense. Okay. So if they've told me, I want this very specific house that has a sunroom and has to have a pool and it has to be east facing and it can't be in the busy part of town, and you know, maybe they've given me 10 things like this, I might let them purchase first because I know that the inventory will be hard pressed to find, right? Or if they're in a really low budget for their purchase, right? We might sit and slow things down and try and look for a purchase first. Okay. But if they say, you know, I just need a bungalow in Scarborough for like, you know, $1 million, any bungalow, 3 plus 2 bedroom, you know, I'm just looking to invest my money after I sell. I say, no problem. Let's sell first. Okay. I'm confident that if we put a 60-day closing on your property, right, it's safer for you to sell first because now I know how much money you have in hand and I can align your closing dates a little better. Okay. So I close most of my listing appointments with that unless they're looking for something extremely specific. And then I'm worried the inventory might not be there for a little while, right? You don't handle homes in our price range. So this is when you're really trying to level up. What do you try to do as a new agent, especially, right? You know, you're going to jump to selling $3 million homes all of a sudden. You guys got to be confident, okay? If you guys want to go and close those bigger homes or in a ritzier neighborhood or somewhere where you're not used to selling, again, I go back to using the strength of your brokerage, right? I would just say, of course I have. Look at this $3 million one and $2 million one I sold in this pocket. Pull some comps. If the brokerage doesn't have comps, you go look for, I look for another Remax and ask that agent permission, but it's a big office. They've been in business for years now. I'm sure you can find something in the pocket that you're looking in that'll be comparable to show your client, right? I need to net this amount in order to move. I have to be at my job in 90 days, but I can't afford to buy a new home if take a loss. So I can appreciate the position you're in. Many people in our area are in the same position. And you know, I'm curious, has there ever been a time when you knew you were going to have to make a sacrifice? I mean, you knew it was going to be tough in the end after analyzing all your options. You realized there was only one thing to do. Put your head down, grit your teeth, and go for it. But you found in the end, it all worked out. You made it through the tough times and life went on, maybe even better than before. So this is interesting because I'm not, this again is not my favorite script to go by because I'm not as pushy necessarily as this. What I would say to my clients is I do sit down and crunch numbers with them. I just had a client who moved from East York over to Scarborough and she was worried. She's crunching numbers. She wanted to carry a much less mortgage than she was carrying, right? So we're thinking, okay, how much do you sell for? I think we can sell for this much. And again, it's always good to work with minimums. Lower prices are better. Your client will always be happier if you did a better job, right? So we went with a minimum. How much do you think you can purchase this? I go with a maximum for the purchase. We somewhere meet in the middle and she was really happy and now she's moved, right? So I sit down and crunch the numbers and sort of put my client into more of a calm position. I think our job is to walk them through the process and feel really supported. So as long as your client's feeling really supported at the end of the day, I think they'll be confident to go ahead if you crunch the numbers with them and show them, you know, all about land transfer tax, look up the cost for them, lawyers' fees, realtor fees, everything. Crunch those numbers with them so they know what they're getting into, right? If I have to sell at that price, then I will sell it myself, right? So they're saying, oh, I'm not going to get $950 for my house. I'm only going to get $9. Well, maybe I can save the commission and not sell. Again, I go back to my FSBO script and I say to them, you know, you want someone protecting you on that part of the transaction, right? It's scary when you want to go and sell yourself and you're not used to writing all the legalese in our contracts, right? All right, that's the 3% one. Has anybody else thought of something else? I mean, I could go over these all day. I have 1,000 different objections. Anything else you guys want before, because we've got 15 minutes left. I want to make sure I cover something that you guys are actually having trouble with in your listing appointments. Who had a listing appointment recently in the past week or two that they didn't close? Anybody? So I had a listing appointment I didn't close. And if you guys don't have listing appointments that you're not closing, then you should either have a lot of listings or you're not working hard enough. Okay, because that's just the nature of the game. You guys got to go out there every day and do something, right? Every day you should be trying to book an appointment, make a contact, get a new lead. Okay, so since we last trained, I went for a listing appointment that I didn't get yet. Actually, totally lost it. It was funny as heck. The lady had double booked and I walked in the door and there's the agent standing there already. And she goes, oh, I guess I double booked. Super awkward. So here we are with the other listing agent trying to get the property. The daughter takes them one way. We go the other way with the mom. We're walking around the whole house. Both agents trying to stall and be the last one out. Okay. Forever talking about absolutely nothing, taking way longer than it necessary. And neither of us got it. She hired someone else she saw the next day, I think. But it was just super awkward, super awkward. So how do I combat that, right? I'm thinking, what are my ways to strategize to close this appointment, right? And the only way I knew was to try to stick it out longer than the other agent and try and get them to sign. And I did. We did push our paperwork in front and she said, no, I have to talk to my husband and I'm meeting with other agents, right? So try to close. You win some, you lose some. But anybody else have a listing appointment this week that they didn't close? Something funny happened? No? Sorry? You found mold at the property. I know you were telling me about that. That's awful. So Seraph was just about to put up a listing. Tenants move out and mold at the property. Here the tenants have lived here and haven't told her that there's been a problem with the property or the owners that there's been a problem with the property.
Rejecting the showings. Like,
Rejecting.
know why. Right?
Yeah, she had the listing up for a little bit. They were rejecting the showings and now she knows why, because the property's a hot mess. So there goes her listing until they fix it up for a little bit, right? So
Process of fixing the, like basically, you have to declare to the.
it depends on the extent of the mold. So if there's just mold around the bathtub or something and it's because they haven't been cleaning or doing the grout, you know, it's fine. But if it's internally, then they have to properly do it. Yeah. And it all depends on the reason why. Like, I don't think that they were having like a grow up in the property or anything, right, Sarah? So it's not like a full extent mold. I think it's just a
most likely they like
external.
Just external, like because it's the windowsills where if you don't clean your windowsills, it gets like that,
Yeah.
moldy and stuff. And then it's like they must have had the bed there because it's behind the bed. They probably just like didn't clean.
Never cleaned, yeah.
Like, so it doesn't look like it's anything like that. It just looks like it's carelessness and they must have just not been clean. Like that's all. Like
yeah.
just not clean or something.
That's what I'm saying. Not clean tenants. So her
I don't
listings,
think it was
her
too
listings
long.
on hold, hopefully for only a week or two, as soon as you find a maintenance guy to come and do it. If anybody knows a maintenance guy working in Brampton, honest, please
Yeah,
help her out.
like,
Please
let me know.
shoot us a text and let us know. We're looking for a maintenance guy. So Sarah can put her listing up, right? Let's see here. We're quite ready yet. Finish a couple projects around the house before we put it on the market. So this is one I get often. I get somebody walking through and they go, oh, well, you think if I paint the kitchen, I'll get more money? And what about this floor? You think I should change the floor? And what do you think I should do? So I kind of assess two different things, right? I look around the house and I think, okay, if they paint this kitchen, do the bedrooms need a fix? Does the floor need a fix? What does the basement look like? And I always caution my clients. I say, okay, you know, I think that if you start painting this, that you might want to replace the floor once you see how fresh that is. Then you're going to go to the bedrooms and see, oh, it needs all new doors. And then the washroom's going to kind of look old. And it kind of becomes a big catch-22. Unless you're planning on remodeling everything, you know what I mean? Then just list the property with me. I think I can get you the price. Whereas if the whole house is in really good condition, but the living room's a little scuffed up, they might have some kids or some chair bangs on the wall. I say, yeah, okay, a quick refresh of the paint will be good. Right? So you want to make sure you're advising your clients accordingly. But these people that think that they can, you know, get $40,000 more for a quick paint job, you definitely want to save them from that catch-22 and say, you know, you don't want to get caught up in that cycle of fix, 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 right? All right. I'm just seeing here which ones we haven't covered because this is a different one that we're going over. You don't hold open houses. Well, nobody's holding open houses right now, right? So if it wasn't COVID right now, you know why, I mean, I do hold the occasional open house. I really don't anymore. I always tell them the truth. I say it's more for the agent because we're collecting buyers that are coming through. I said, you know, I think it's the stat is 1% of homes, 1% of homes are sold from open houses. You often don't get the buyer walking through for that particular house. We still need to interview one more agent, God bless you, even after they promised that you'd be the last, okay? So what did I say last week? When you're booking your listing appointments, you wanna try and be the last person, okay? Why do you wanna try and be the last person? Because if you're the first, they're not gonna make a decision, okay? If you're the last, you're more likely to get that signature. They've already heard what the two other people said. If they have any objections, like what that guy said he'd charge 1.5 or 2 or 1 or whatever the case may be, you have a chance to combat that. And you're more likely to be able to push the paperwork in front of them and get that signature, right? Sometimes they'll tell you, oh yeah, you're the last, and then still book someone after you, okay? It's saying it's not the real objection, but I have had that happen. But I would just say to them, well, what is it that you haven't covered yet in your mind? What haven't I covered? I've done the commission. I've told you what the market is like. I've told you how I'm going to market your property. We're agreeing on a pricing strategy. And, you know, there's no reason you shouldn't list with me. I do a lot in this area. You've hopefully brought comps of things that have sold. So you try to get that paperwork. You'll have to try to close at least 3 times in that appointment before you walk away. You can't just ask sheepishly once to sign the paperwork. They say you've got to try to close 3 times, okay? Any more than that, then you're getting obnoxious. You might get on their nerves. And if they are thinking of using you, they won't call you back. But you should try to close 3 times during that appointment, right? A soft one, a medium one, and a hard one at the end if you haven't got it. And then if that doesn't work, then you have no other choice, right? Anything else you guys would like to cover? I want to see these people's faces here online for a little bit. What's going on with everybody here on the Zoom? Do you guys have anything that I haven't covered for your listing appointments? Give me something that you've heard recently in your listing appointment that's personal that you just couldn't figure out how to close or you couldn't figure out how to get around.
My client, for offer, don't want to come to brokerage, they want to do their property.
For offers?
Yeah.
So you can do that.
That's okay.
I mean, if your clients are comfortable with you going to their home, you're an essential service, you're going to be meeting your clients anyways to sign paperwork eventually or to take them through a property or whatever. It's fine if you go as long as they're comfortable with it. I mean, you mask, gloves, hand sanitizer, you know, sit across the table from them maybe. You know, as long as you're not going to meet 30 members of their family at the house, right?
After the property, agent, they will come with the client there, or they can just send the email because they don't have access to all this data.
So all the bid dates I've attended lately have been online. They, you know, before you used to kind of gather at the property and sit in your car. That's not happening right now. I haven't seen one that's been like that recently. So I would encourage everybody, if you're the listing agent, to just send everything in online right now and you'll review with your client. Now, if it's just you and your client sitting at a table, even now with my clients, I've been just reviewing over line. I kind of send them everything. I call them on the phone and I go over all the offers and all the points of the offers with them. And then I send them back a sent to sign to do the sign backs and stuff like that. So
How do you, inform all the other agents who have put an offer at the same time?
you got to log into Broker Bay. You have to log into Broker Bay. So what happens is when everybody's booking appointments for your listings, it gets logged in Broker Bay, right? And you do a page out to everybody. So you go into your listing, your active listing, and you just go do a notice for all who've shown, and you say 1 offer registered, 2 offer registered, presenting today at 6, or bully offer registered, or whatever you're saying about that property. But make sure to do your pages because RICO is huge on this. Your 801s are the most important when you're collecting for a bid date. Your 801s and your page. Did you page it out to the other agents? They want to know. Yeah. So make sure that you're doing that. How can the client show the property to family members to take a family decision if the buyer wants? Okay, Paul, that's a good question. So I recently sold to a family in Pickering, and a lot of these are doing three people max for properties. I had to go through several times, unfortunately, because of COVID. So I had to take the mom and the kid, and then the dad and the kid, and then the parents wanted to go through eventually. So I had to do only a few at a time, going into the property because they just won't allow it. You know, most of them is a 3-person max. So it's difficult, but you have to kind of double up with everything. Yeah, I know that's what you're thinking, but I know it's exactly what it is, right? And everybody has to be wearing a mask. They've kind of stopped paging out for gloves because there was that whole back and forth on the news about gloves, right? Some properties have fresh ones at the door. I've been telling my listing people, so if you are putting up listings and people are worried about COVID, here's another objection that we're dealing with right now. I'm really afraid to have people walk through my house. Very valid point, okay? I assure them that we're letting everybody vet things online. So I'm going to make sure you have that good presence online. So only the people who really want to see your property are coming through. I'm going to put hand sanitizer, gloves and masks by the door. Please leave all your lights on. Okay, I know it's a little bit about the hydro bill. I'm going to be at work all day, but if I know that your property is going to get slammed with showings the first couple days I put it up, please leave your lights on. It minimizes everybody touching the walls, touching, the switches, opening doors. I always say open up the linen closet. They don't have to open up all their cupboards, right, in the kitchen, but definitely if there's like a little linen closet or a door to the basement, make sure these things are open so people are minimizing the contact in your house, right? And then when you come home, I would encourage you just, I usually leave them the bottle of that Lysol spray and they can just spray all the contact surfaces like their door handles. Lysol wipes at the door. Please wipe the lockbox and handle when you leave for the agents, right? So we're trying our best to be as careful as possible. It is what it is in the meantime, but hopefully that'll help you handle that objection with your clients about being nervous right now during COVID. Anybody else got another question? So you guys, this week, how many listing appointments are we going to try and get, right? I should give you guys my goal sheet. So I'm super competitive and I like to get that kind of vibe going in the office. I think it keeps us all sort of motivated. I have this sheet that I usually hand out to my agents, right? And it kind of goes like, you get a point for getting a lead today. You get a point for sending out 10 business cards. My rules, 10 business cards. Call 10 people, 20 people on the phone today, find 1 lead. Make 1 listing appointment. Take a buyer out. Right? Get a listing, load a listing, right? Get an offer accepted, put an offer and get it accepted. And it kind of just is a little checklist and we all kind of compete with each other. So we can get that going again once we get you all really super active. But as usual, call me if you need anything, text me if you need anything. Let me know how I can help you guys boost that production, get in the system, search things if you need help with anything. Authenticine, a deal that you're not used to navigating, something commercial. Don't give up anything because you're nervous or you don't know how to do it. Right? Okay. All right. So everybody get me a good story for next week. I need a good story and a bad story. And if you don't have it, like I say, you're not working hard enough, right? Yes. How can I help you, Joanna? 1 second. I just saw your hand up. I'll go unmute there. Hold on. Let me unmute you there. Hi.
Hi. So I know some of the clients eventually when we go, they always don't know the market. They say put it for the asking price and 20,000 more like that. But eventually they understand the market. But some people, even after putting so many offers and rejected, put 10,000 more, 20,000. How can we deal with those issues? Sometimes we feel so bad.
So people are nervous with the underpricing. They don't like to see you putting their price up for $9.99 when it's really worth 1.2 or 3, right? You have to be bringing those comparables to show them, okay? So in your CMA, you should have the last 4 or 5 properties that were listed. This listed for $9.99, sold for 1.2. This
No,
listed
I'm
for
talking about the buyers, when they're trying to put an offer.
Oh, when you're trying to put an offer, you have to do the same. You have to do the same for them and show them. You have to show them that I know that this is listed for $9.99 and you want to offer 20,000 more, but I'm pulling all the comparables for you in this neighborhood and they all listed for $9.99, $9.89, $8.88, and they all sold for 1.2. So that's just a marketing strategy. That's not true price. You have to educate your clients at the end of the day. Same as you educate your listing appointments. Yeah. You still have, you might not create a whole formal CMA, but you're definitely going to print or pull up on your computer or email them, you know, to show them, oh, any houses in this quality and this, like, you know, with these finishes, it's all sold for around this price, even though they were listed at $9.99.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Anybody else? Everybody good? If you guys think of anything, you're always welcome. Or if you're shy, just shoot me a text, shoot me a WhatsApp, and or give me a call, and I can walk you through whatever you guys need. If you have any questions in the meantime, I'm here more than just training days. Remember, guys, I'm here all during the week whenever you need me. Okay. So next training, we're going to try to put in a evening on Thursday, right? Because last week we had the tech tips, so I didn't do the evening. So I will see you all on Thursday evening. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Have a good week. No problem, Paul. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have a good week.
Start making money.
Yes, start making money this week. Close some appointments. Talk to you guys soon.
Yes,